Greetings, everyone. I'm Luke Bryan Smith, and welcome to Enlightened, Empowered, Evolved. I believe that everyone's doing well and everything is unfolding perfectly. Love and appreciation to everybody. And I'm thankful that you're spending a moment of your time with me today here on Enlightened, Empowered, Evolved. Today, yet again, I'm very excited for this awesome woman, Stefania. I forgot how to pronounce the last name again.
Puleo.
Stefania Puleo. And I said I wouldn't do that, so excuse me to everybody. Stefania Puleo. It's just amazing that I'm meeting so many people from around the world and just with unique names, beautiful names. And that's something that I have to work on, is my pronunciation of names. But she is an amazing woman. Stefania is the world's #1 men's love and relationship coach and hypnotherapist. She is the founder and CEO of the Gentleman's Square, a socially digital space that reaches thousands of men from all over the world. Wow. Stefania coaches driven men on how to attract valued, matched women, understand her psychology, how she thinks, and keep her ignited in sexy, passionate, loving relationship without going crazy. Wow. She is also a personal trainer, an author, speaker, an unstoppable visionary, dedicated in helping you become the man you desire to be. Wow. Stefania was born and raised in the suburbs of Melbourne, Australia, with nothing more than a passion for people, love, and life. Working with Stefania is an experience like no other. Wow. Beautifully, beautifully orchestrated, and I can feel that. And just some of the points that your introduction highlighted is something that I believe that will pique the interest of men everywhere, all around the world, no matter where they are. Every man wants to attract that ideal woman, person, and be able to sustain that relationship in a positive, enlightening way. And I already feel that you're the go-to person to get this done. How are you today, Stefania?
Wow, I'm great. Thank you, Luke. Thank you so much for the warm and wow introduction. That was amazing. Thank you. Much appreciated. So great to be here with you today. Yeah.
Yes. Now, we're going to get right into it. So tell us, I read this beautiful introduction. Can you elaborate a little bit more on what it is you do and how you do it?
Okay. All right then. Well, basically, as my title says, I help driven men to actually attract, a value matched woman, a quality woman, a woman, that they feel is their dream woman. And basically understand her, understand how she thinks, understand, female energy, because sometimes what happens is men kind of miss that little gap of understanding how women actually think. And they say, well, you can never understand a woman.
Yes. Can I stop you there?
Yes.
I too am guilty of always even reciting the narrative that you're never going to figure a woman out. They're too complex. They're too volatile, too many emotions, too much estrogen going on. And you're telling me now that a woman can be figured out?
Absolutely. And you need an in-between go-to. And that's where I'm here to help you with that, because a lot of the times men, like you said, get confused, get stuck. And what do they normally do? They either turn it all in their own head. They're trying to figure it out on their own, you know, with their own critical mind, or they'll go to their buddies, their mates, you know, their male friends,
Right.
to kind of like vent out and try and work out a woman. But I say it's a bit like, you know, if you have, you know, a beautiful looking car, let's say a really, you know, a Lamborghini, right? You have a Lamborghini as a car.
Right.
And you want to know how it works. You want to know, you know, how it drives properly. Well, you're not going to go to, you know, a Ford dealership, are you? You're not going to go there and get it serviced and get to understand how it all runs. So the same thing is with a woman. You know, a woman is built differently. She thinks differently to a man. And a lot of the times men sort of, you know, they're trying their hardest. I mean, I love men, and that's why I'm really working with men, because I feel that, you know, sometimes they're a bit misunderstood, but if they can just get to understand the female energy, it doesn't mean it makes them, you know, pussy or too feminine themselves. No, they just got to study you know, the archetypes and the personalities and the psychology that comes with, you know, being attracted to a woman. Because
Right. Because
you know,
oftentimes, if I may just interrupt just for 1 second, oftentimes in my experiences, and um, even what I've witnessed with, you know, other men, is that their aptitude, the information that they get for figuring out a woman is just from just experience, and oftentimes that doesn't go well, you know.
mm,
So I think I resonate with what you're saying right now. We need something a little bit more um, deep, structured, um, more of a template, you know, instructions, if you will, on how to get this figured out, on how to think, on what to do, and how to adjust ourselves. So go
yeah,
ahead.
absolutely. And I just want to add to that, Lute, you know, you're exactly right, because a lot of the times, you know, if you as a man have come from, you know, a broken relationship or several broken relationships, what do you normally do? You kind of like look back at your past and try and assess your past
And
into your
bring
future.
that, kind of
Exactly.
bring some of that into your present.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that in itself, you know, you're already basing, you know, your new relationship based on your past experiences. So, you know, that is definitely, you know, not the way to go. And, you know, through my coaching and also through my hypnotherapy, that also helps men, you know, break through those habits, break through those blockages, help heal trauma, help heal, you know, because there's a lot of men out there that have been traumatized by women. I won't lie, you know, and that in itself is going to put a real big block, so to speak, with moving forward into another relationship, particularly if they do have a woman that they really, you know, care about, or they've fallen in love, but then they'll sabotage it because, you know, they've been hurt in the past and they've gone down this route and it feels familiar. And then, you know, before they even get anywhere with the relationship, they'll just cut it off because they feel that they're going to go down that track again of being hurt and heartbroken and et cetera, et cetera.
Wow,
So
you see, that's interesting that you say that, because oftentimes the narrative is always, in my experience, in my country, in my culture, you hear strictly about women that have been heartbroken by men. So with you putting that out there, I can see that that you would make ruffle a few feathers around here, being a woman advocating for men that have been that have been broken, you know, down by women, because you really, that's not too common that you hear that, or I haven't heard it. So
yeah, I
yeah,
know, I
that's
know.
very unique.
And it's
So
really funny you should say that, because I have had some, you know, interesting comments and things said to me as that. I mean, I love my fellow sisters as well, you know, the females, the queens of the world. But I feel that the men are a little bit hard done by and a little bit misunderstood. And, you know, I mean, everybody needs to work on themselves. I'm not saying one more than the
Right.
other. But of course, like you said, the focus is on women, and it's about them always coming from broken relationships, them having it hard done by men. But let me tell you, you know, after working with a lot of men, I can certainly tell you there are some stories out there that would make literally, you know, your hair curl. You,
Wow.
Luke,
My
your hair
hair?
would grow. It would grow.
You mean maybe my beard curl a little bit more, or
Yeah.
straighten out. Maybe it'll
Oh,
straighten
maybe
out.
straighten out. Yes, yes, because you know, there are men out there that are just, you know, really caring, really sensitive, have just opened their hearts out to women, just only to be, you know, have their hearts ripped out, sliced up in pieces, so to speak, you know.
Wow.
But it's all a journey. But you know what I do is I work with men one-on-one, and I work, and we go back to as far as back they want to go, where we heal self first, because I really think that that's the most important part. And this is where
Root causes, sort of, so to speak. Root
yes,
causes.
root causes, but also within self, you know, and a lot of it too has got to do with self-love, you know, and self-respect. Because what
Right.
happens as a man, and maybe you can relate to this, the man is the breadwinner. The man has to look after the, you know, his woman and his children, and the man has to look after everything. It's like the responsibility is all on the man. And in this journey, half the time he's giving so much of himself that he's really forgetting to give back to himself, you know, to
Right.
himself. Because
To himself.
what
Yes.
happens, yeah, to himself, because what happens is, you know, I sort of use a metaphor of the love tank, you know, which Gary Chapman uses. We all have, you know, a heart. We all
Right.
have I say a love tank as a heart. And if that love tank isn't full and self-fulfilled, you know, where you're filling your own heart up, you're filling up your own tank, not waiting upon, you know, your woman to do it for you, or your, you know, your partner to do it, or anyone else for that case.
Right.
Really being able to set healthy boundaries, you know, having time for yourself, and learning really good, clear communication skills. Because
Right.
again, that's another factor as well. I mean, there's so many areas to touch on, but yeah, you know, we go through all this, um, and of course, if there is healing, that if there's any healing from the past that needs to be done, we also do that as well. So then when you've got all that and you're well equipped, so you can then move forward and go into a, you know, a healthy relationship. And of course, you're only going to attract what you vibrate. I always say that to, you know, people in
Wow.
general, particularly my clients, my male clients. If you want love, if you want to be respected by that woman, if you want all that attention, you love being massaged, or you love kisses, or you love whatever it is that you love, well, then you need to put that out there.
Right.
You need to put it out there, because if you're putting it out there, you're vibrating that energy, and you're going to attract the same energy back. You're going to attract a woman that is on your same wavelength and is valuing what you're valuing, because you have clear, you know, concise ideas and knowing of what it is you want. You're clear. You have clarity in your life. And a lot of that stems with that first step, clarity. What is it that you want? And half
Wow.
the time, a
Now
lot of men don't know what they
you are
want.
throwing out so many golden nuggets and so many just um situations and ideas that I can totally relate to. Um, I'll go back to, even like you said, communication. That's an important part, because oftentimes I think even within both parties, it we we find it difficult to articulate our feelings, or to be able to deal with the frustration of certain, things, and come across just totally wrong, and to be able to stand, to put our egos behind us when we're communicating, with the person that we love, and just a whole lot goes into it. So I can understand everything that you're saying. And as far as the vibration, that's what I'm constantly working towards, lifting up my vibration through the music that I'm inspired to create, as well as my dialogues, the people I engage with, and and just everything on a day-to-day basis. When as I'm reading, I'm currently reading this book by a wonderful author. It's probably backwards, by the name of Brian Scott, The Reality Revolution, and it's just working on myself daily. But yes, I can see how you will have your hands full, at any given moment working with someone, because even someone like myself that works on myself could always use guidance in these areas that you speak of. Always.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, I'm not only dealing with, men and, their intimate relationships, whether they're married or whether they're, trying to find that date, or that they are in a relationship and they want to spark it up, because that's really important as well. And half the time, what happens is we can get a little comfortable. We've been dating for 3-6 months, and you start letting your hair down a little bit, getting too complacent, getting too comfortable. And a woman likes surprises. She likes not always the same, like men. Some men are the same as well. So again, what it is that you like, you need to put it out there, because if you're not looking after your woman, if you're not paying attention even to the little things, we're talking about little things, it's not the big things. Usually men think women just want the big things, the jewelry, the this, the that, the fine dining. Really, it's not. It's that emotional connection that women are really looking for. And it's
someone that, so to speak, understands them. Is that, am I?
Exactly. That's where we come full circle with, understanding, female energy, understanding female psychology, understanding that, the different love languages, the 5 love languages that come into play as well, and communicating. Because, sometimes what happens again, as you were saying before, communication, you may be thinking, oh, she may think this of me if I say this, or she may be thinking that. Or if you feel that you're going to have to walk on eggshells all the time, well, then you're not being your authentic self. You're not being your real true self to first, foremost yourself, and then to your woman. So, all these things, building confidence within self as well, to be able to, set healthy boundaries, say yes when you want to, say no when you don't want to, because again, women, and I kind of give away a few secrets again, sometimes not well liked for that, but I say it how it is. I get real and I get raw with my men. Like even last night, I had a conversation with a client, and he was really stressing out because he said, Stefania, my girlfriend, they got a long distance relationship. They caught up last in January, and she's not answering her phone. She's now blocked him on certain, social media apps. And I mean, I said, well, why is she doing this? What's been happening? So of course, she's got some reason. She got another man? We don't know, but he needs to be working on himself to be able to reignite that relationship if he wants it to, reignite, or find out, where is she at? Is she with another man? Do you know what I'm saying?
And hopefully in a case like that, hopefully he's being totally transparent as to, something that may have happened or transpired. So hopefully if he really wants your help, he has to, and I'm pretty sure you told him that, that he has to let me know. You have to let me know what, because it's usually, I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong or whose fault or anything, but it's usually a reason behind someone's behavior like that, so.
Always. I always say, if there's smoke, there's a fire.
There's fire. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So
now go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I wanted you to finish what you were You know,
No, so I was just saying, so in this case, communication is, really adamant, it's really, really important. And I just asked him a few questions, and yes, his communication wasn't really clear because she's still sending, lovey-dovey messages, but, is he being clear? So, it's all to be established.
mixed signals, so to
Yeah.
speak.
And, women are good at doing that, sending mixed signals, I must say. So you just got to understand and read between the lines, because sometimes she may just want attention. I need
Right.
space, right?
Right.
I need space doesn't necessarily mean like I'm backing off. It may just mean like she's testing him, right? Which means, are you going to come after me? Because women love to be chased. Let's face it, they love that. Yeah, the majority, let's say,
Wow.
that being courted. I think that's coming back in now, where a woman, as much as you have the alpha females, out there, but deep down they still want to be courted. They still want to be made to feel like a lady.
Right. I can see that. Now, you say also, how does hypnotherapy tie into this? And are you actually putting men to sleep and then speaking some things into their minds, or how does that work? How does that hold?
Okay. All right. Well, when we speak hypnotherapy, of course, a lot of people freak out if they don't know much about it. Hypnotherapy is a dream-like state. So, we are always in and out of hypnosis ourselves. Let me explain. For example, when you first wake up, you are in a hypnotic state. You're waking up and you're sort of trying to sort out, you're waking up and get up, and you will automatically go to the bathroom or do what you do normally in the mornings. So that is a hypnotic state. Half an hour usually between going to bed, before going to bed, you start yawning, you start feeling relaxed, you start feeling that drowsy feeling. Again, that's another form of being in a hypnotic state. Another form, even, during the day, you'll be driving your car and you'll miss your turn. And you know where you're going, but you were just so far away in your mind that you have missed your turn. Again, you're in a state of hypnosis. That's why you missed your turn. Or you might be watching a movie. You're so drawn into that movie that, someone may be calling you and you don't hear them because you're just so zoned into that movie. So yeah, hypnosis is that. So you're in control. You actually know you're in that dreamlike state. You can stop the session anytime if you feel uncomfortable or anything like that.
So it's not like how the movies portray it, and they have someone walking around like this and don't know what they're doing.
Oh no, not at all.
Nothing like that.
Nothing's, that's all, stage hypnosis, which I think was a big thing probably back in the 60s and 70s. And probably still is, I think, in Vegas. I'm sure I heard that they still do, hypnotic stage entertainment.
Right.
Totally different, totally different. This is therapeutic, this is healing, this is really getting down to core issues. How does it tie in? Well, again, we only use 12% of our conscious mind, and most of it, 88%, is our subconscious mind. So therefore, a lot of those message units that have been put into your subconscious, particularly from the age of, birth to 8 to 9 years old, are stored in there. And that's what, pretty much forms you and you carry with you as an adult. So, if there's past traumas as a child and, things that have, and particularly, I say again, because I work with men where they've had really not so pleasant relationships with their mother or other females in their life, possibly sisters or aunties or caretakers,
Right.
again, that creates a, pretty negative message unit in the subconscious, which will be revealed later on possibly most of the time as an adult.
Manifests itself
Yeah,
in their life somewhere.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. And the same thing goes for women, obviously, but because I work with men, you know,
Men.
we go
Yes.
through, yeah, we
That's
go
what you're
through those.
elaborating on. Well,
Yeah, yeah.
that, wow, that sounds very you it sounds very complex what you do, but but probably to you it's not. It's what you've been doing, and it sounds like you know what you're doing and get to the root of the problem and or
Yeah,
problems, and are able to, in a gentle yet effective way, um, assist men in and heading in the right direction. And
mm,
that's a beautiful thing.
absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
what I wanted to mention with the hypnotherapy also, like you said, it is a very gentle way. And also, it's very, you know, the client does the work. Okay. I'm just a guide. I'm just a channel where,
Right.
you know, as a client, as a male, you do most of the internal work. I give you the tools, and a lot of the stuff is done internally. So, you know, there's not a great deal of, you know, sometimes, you know, men feel a bit hesitant in, you know, being vulnerable, opening up, because, you know, not all men, you know, you're maybe a little bit different, Luke. You're able to just be quite vulnerable and open up. But there's a lot of men out there that you know, find it a challenge. So
Right.
with hypnosis, it's not invasive. You know, it's actually it's a great modality to use. I feel it fast tracks to the problem, and gets results.
Wow.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot faster, because again, we're working straight with the subconscious. Yeah.
Now, when you work with clients, um, especially in regards to hypnosis, do they have to be there with you?
No, that's the best part. I'm glad you brought that up. Of course not. Now it can be done, you know, virtually over a camera, over Zoom, over Skype. In fact, I would say 90% of my clients are on, you know, virtual. We do virtual sessions, so that's not a problem at all. And in
That,
fact, it's actually quite good, because, you know, my clients can feel quite comfortable. There is,
that's what I was going to say. I was going to
yeah,
say that opens up a lot of gray areas and a lot of opportunity, because especially with someone that's, you know, reluctant to even seek help, a lot of times it's um, we get nervous, people in general, of the unknown, especially when we, even in spite of knowing that we need some type of help, that first step, especially if we have not, it's uncharted territory, you know. So it's a lot more comforting to know, okay, I can seek this this new insight, this new therapy, right in the comfort of my own home. So that makes it a lot, you know, takes away a
yeah,
lot of tension and stress. I'm sure, I'm certain of that.
absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, so there's, you know, you don't have to move. You can do it in your own office. You don't even have to be at home, as long as, you know, you've got a comfortable upright chair, maybe a few pillows to make it a bit of extra comfort. But it's, yeah, it's great. And usually the sessions are about, you know, 60 minutes. They go for about 60 minutes. Your first initial induction is about an hour and 15, 20 minutes. That's because,
Wow.
you know, that you get most of the groundwork done in the first session. But yeah, it's excellent.
Now, is there an excuse me, is there an average amount of time that you usually work with a specific client, or does it just vary? Is it like, okay, is it something like you just give me 2 or 3 months and I'll have you straight, or how does that work?
Okay, again, that's an excellent question. That depends on the issue, right? It depends on what we're
Right.
working on. You know, I do have packages. I have my coaching programs, and then I have my hypnotherapy programs. But, you know, also what comes into play, and I offer these courses, some men just want to work on their, because I'm also a personal trainer, as you, I think you've
Right.
mentioned that to the audience. So, you know, some men need to work on their, you know, not only their self-confidence and their mindset and everything like that, but their body image as well. So I can actually help them with, training, right exercise, and food and nutrition, a wellness coach. So I'm an all-rounder. So we're working with the mind, the body, food
creating
intake.
balance within their overall balance and harmony within their overall being.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
Because, again, if you look good, you feel good. And if you feel
Right.
good, you look
Right.
good. So it comes all together. So you don't have to go to a personal trainer, to a mindset coach, you just get it all together with me.
One-stop shop. One-stop cure.
That's right. That's right. But
Wow.
again, depends what you want. You may not want all that. You may just want, to work out things with your relationship, or get that confidence up, to, ask that woman out, or get more confident with women, communication,
yes. Or
whatever
enhance your relationship in some way.
Exactly.
From
So
listening to you, I can tell that you can give a lot of perspectives and insights and tools to enhance an existing relationship.
Yeah. And so I come from a wide range of, my background, and also culturally, I work with men that are, dating women that are not of their culture. And why have I been drawn to that as well? Because I have dated men of not my culture as well. I've traveled extensively around the world. I've lived in the States. I've lived in Europe. I've lived in the Caribbean, parts of Asia as well. So, and of course, I come from Australia. So I've pretty much traveled the world, and learned a lot about cultures, learned a lot about what is culturally accepted in some cultures, and what's happening now, as the world, I believe, is becoming closer and closer and so connected, because we're just connecting via internet, that
Right.
People are wanting to date people from the other parts of the world. Men are really, particularly say from the Middle East, or from the eastern side, wanting to connect with the West, but struggling on how to actually make that connection with a woman, because their cultures are different. And again, just another thing that I have in my portfolio, I'm also an English teacher. I've taught English as a second language.
Right.
I did it for
Wow.
years at Melbourne University, and then I did it in Italy, and other parts of the world, but mainly Italy. So what happens is, again, the English language. When a man, say for example, from Italy or the Middle East, that's not English speaking, their first language is not English, and they will translate how they feel, or they're expressing the love to a woman from their language and totally translating it into English. Sometimes, let me tell you, Luke, it doesn't come across very romantic.
Right. I can see, I could understand that, because
Right. So what
if I was
happens?
speaking another language, I wouldn't quite know all the ins and outs in these specific expressions and words to articulate or relay that.
Exactly.
And just one word could throw the whole thing off. So you have to be very careful.
Absolutely, and this is what I would tell my students when I would teach English, with the English language, there's just all these little things that you've got to know how to say it, and, the pleases and the thank yous, and, whereas we look at the Arab language or the Italian language, it can be quite cut dry, and they can say, something quite seductive to a woman, and it means nothing. But if you translate it directly into English, it can be quite rude.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Too blunt,
And
too straightforward, too explicit, or whatever. Yes,
yeah,
I get
particularly
it.
if it's the first, initial conversation, So
Right.
yeah, these little intricate things that are very, very important. And again, I bring that all together for a man when connecting with women and
Wow.
understanding.
I mean, amazing. I mean, you just have so many elements and of what you do, so many angles, so to speak. So much ground that you cover in regards to human uh, development, to connecting with people, and psychology of it, and the mindset and the spirit and just everything in the body. I got all of those elements from what you were talking about. Amazing.
Thank
So
you.
before we conclude, is there anything that you would like, any final concluding statements or ideas, or something you would like to relay?
Um, well, if anyone would like to work with me or want to chat with me, they can reach out to me. I do have a website.
Oh
I work
yes,
on a platform
excuse me.
of.
Yes, I was going to. That would be the next thing I was going to ask you.
Oh,
Yeah, I, how can we find you?
okay.
The
Okay.
various ways to find you. Go ahead.
Oh,
I had
sorry.
to
I
I
thought
had
that's
to
the
I had
name.
to be the one to introduce that before you just start putting out all out there. So how
All
can we
right.
find you, Stefania?
All right. All right. So very easy. You can find me on the internet. My website is The Gentleman Square.
The
Okay. Square.
gentlemen's with an S.
Actually, MEN, plural, no S, and then
Okay.
square.
Square. So
Gentleman
the S is for the square. Gentleman Square
Square. That's
dot
right.
com.
Yep. .com. Yep.
Dot
.com.
com. The gentleman Square
Square. Yes.
dot com. Okay.
Yes.
What else?
So yeah, I just quickly want to tell you a story how I got that name, because a lot of people want to know. So I'm going to put it out there. Because when I was living in Italy um, for 7 years, I'd just come back since COVID had, you know, obviously last year, 2020. But the men, particularly in Italy, would hang out in the piazza. You know, every town would have a piazza and the Duomo, you know, the cathedral and everything.
Right.
And it was
Beautiful,
just
probably.
really, yeah, really, it was a lovely place. I lived in Syracuse, beautiful place. And
Wow.
it was just interesting to see how the men would just get together, you know, and they would congregate, have coffees, play cards, or, you know, socialize, just the men. So it was the piazza. And I thought, La Piazza degli Uomini, which is in Italian. And I thought, you know what? I can translate that into English, because that's what men do. They come together. Women come together in circles, don't they? And I thought men can come together in a square.
Square. Right.
Because men are very, very logical and quite linear and in their thinking usually.
Right.
So it just fitted that. So that's how that name came about, the Gentleman Square. Yeah,
Wow.
so you can find me there, Gentleman Square. I
Amazing.
have a YouTube channel. I
What's your
have
YouTube channel?
the same, the Gentleman Square.
Gentleman Square. YouTube.com / the Gentleman Square.
Correct, yeah. Or
All
just
right.
type in the Gentleman Square and
Just
it'll,
Gentleman Square on your search in YouTube, and boom.
yeah, yes,
Okay.
yes.
And where else?
LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all the social media. You can catch me on that.
Gentleman
And of
Square as
course,
well.
yes, yep. And of course, on my website, I do have some great programs that, you know, I offer. I do have also an ebook, which is a really good little book to invest in. It's
And
called
okay.
Master the Language of Attraction.
Master the Language of Attraction.
Yes.
Everybody, I want you to go out and get it, including
Yeah,
myself. You hold me to it too.
yeah. Because this book, what does it talk about? It's about 9 juicier ways to connect with women. So it's cut dry. It's 9 easy ways that you can, you know, connect with women again in an interesting, juicy way. So not hard at all. And you can get that on my website as well. And yeah, and I've also, you know, if you want to just have a chat, I do offer half an hour, 45 minutes or an hour, or you can catch me on my messenger as well, which I've got my own personal messenger on my website.
Wow. Yeah, you heard it. You heard it from Stefania. So men,
Thank you.
I want you to give some thought to what's going on, and reach out to this woman, and she will gently guide you into the right direction. I can see
Yeah.
that. I can feel it. I can sense it. And from what you have just shared with us all is amazing and beautiful and just well orchestrated. You have a passion for what you do. Absolutely. You're well traveled, well versed, and just many aspects of life. And I can just sense that just in this dialogue right here. And it's amazing and beautiful. And I am so deeply grateful to connect with a beautiful soul woman such as yourself. Thank you very much, Stefania.
No,
Appreciate you.
thank you. No, I thank you. I thank you for having me come onto your podcast. I'm really grateful myself, very delighted, and yeah, it's beautiful. And I, wish to connect with you again, and obviously
Yes, absolutely.
with any men that need anyone just to talk to. Sometimes, you need just a sounding board, someone, a new pair of ears, a woman that is, very neutral and is
Yes, neutral.
listen.
That's exactly what I was about to throw in there. You keep sucking all the words right out of my head. I got to put some foil on my head or something to keep you from doing that. Yes, neutral, a neutral person to hear you out that can really give you the gauge what's going on without leaning one way or another is
Another.
absolutely.
Yeah. And I really want to stress that to the men out there, because, they see me as a woman and they think, oh, she's just, a feminist, or she's just all for women. But no, I'm not. I'm fair. I'm really down the line. I know there's a lot of great male therapists and coaches out there, and they're doing amazing work. But I do bring it from a female point, from a female perspective. Yeah,
Yes,
perspective. And yeah, I get very real and real honest with my delivery. And sometimes we do need to hear it. I know that I remember, and I'll leave you with this. I know we're going to conclude, but I remember when I was growing up, and I've got an older brother, right? And you know when I started sort of dating or noticing boys and everything, and he said to me, I'm your big brother, right? And it was like, again, he's telling me what to do. And he said, if you ever got a question and you want to know anything about a man, right? He goes, come to me. If you can't come to me, go to another man and get an honest opinion, because another man will tell you how a man thinks, right?
wow.
And that always stuck in my mind, because it's true. When, as women, if we had dramas with men, you go to your girlfriend, she's only going to give you a female perspective, right?
Right.
She's not going to give you a male's point of view.
And it's
So
usually something to discredit that person and build her up. Not
exactly.
really anything that really needs to be said or anything that's going to really cultivate, right down the middle, some growth in what needs to really be said, but usually one-sided.
That's right. Or simply the truth, right? You hear it
Orange,
from
yes.
the truth. And sometimes your girlfriends don't want to hurt you, they just want to keep you happy, keep you, keep you from crying. But again, you'd go to a man and zoom, I'd get to the problem pretty fast, because a man, the male, would tell you exactly how it is and how another man is usually thinking. So with
Right.
that in mind, that's another reason why I really wanted to be that female advocate for men. Yeah.
Right. Right. Well, yeah, it totally resonates with me that if a woman has taken her precious time and her effort and just resources to dig deep and want to do something like this, I would have a hard time believing it would be for any alternative ulterior motives or anything to take away from a man or anything like that. That's not what would come to mind, or what comes to mind when I listen to you speak. That it would be, anything, that was against men or anything like that.
Oh,
Matter
not
of
at
fact,
all.
I get the opposite of that. Like, okay,
Great. Yeah. Well,
thank you.
definitely. As I said, I love men. So thank you. Thank you,
Thank,
Luke. I really,
thank
really
you. And
enjoyed
I hope everybody that's watching this is clearly enjoyed their time and enlightened and just informed and just motivated to just seek healing in all areas of their life. And men, this is where you start with Stefania. Thank you.
Thank
Enlightened,
you. Thank you.
empowered, evolved. See you soon.